Given this sort of new well not new, a different backstory to Alfred that we're used to seeing.
It was clear when I saw the image that there was something different going on. You know, I knew that something, and so that definitely influenced the voice. I think the image is the sort of strongest indicator you get as to where you're going to go with the voice. And it wasn't a million miles away from my own voice. It felt comfortable, and I felt like I could tell the story within that. So I didn't have a lot of background, but I knew that something very different was going on. And then as soon as I started getting scripts on the day of recording, then I started quickly piecing it together, and that's how it started developing.
Can you give us a little Alfred?
Can I give you some Alfred? Oh, I'm sorry, didn't I tell you? I'm the butler.
That was a really good line.
That was my favourite line of the whole show.
Can you how would you describe this Alfred? I mean, now you know more about him. So a lot of people that don't. Yeah.
People are sceptical, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, I think people are worried. I think people are worried that it's a departure from Alfred. But I mean, if you're taking Batman younger, it makes sense to take Alfred younger too. So they've done that. I think they've given him a bit more of a harder background, a tougher military background, the MI6 thing. But what is still true and what has remained true is the fundamental relationship between Alfred and Bruce is the same. It is the same. He's there to support, he's there to nurture, he's there to honour the promise he made to Bruce's parents. And I think we've really stayed very true to that. So all the compassion, all the wit, I hope, is still there. I think people are sort of missing the sort of cocky one-liners but I mean, it's there. It's going to be there more. A good example is Alfred is forever trying to get Bruce to eat a decent meal, and all Bruce wants to have is a protein shake or a green tea. So, and I think there's still that sort of slight vying for control between the two of them, of who dictates whose life. And I think that's wonderful. It's a very rich vein to tap, for these two characters. So, whilst we've gone in a new direction, that's for sure. And I don't think we're ashamed of that. I think it's, I think we're proud of it. But I think the fundamental truth of the relationship is still there and still honoured. And that's what I love about the whole show. It's still very much Batman.
Did they ever try to make you give him a bit of a more aristocratic shape?
Never. Not once. No. That was my instinct initially to go with the voice that we ended up with. That's how it stayed. It was a great fit. It was just one of those serendipitous things. Yeah, it was just fortune. Mitch
mentioned to us that one of his inspirations for Alfred on the show was Get Carter or Michael Caine.
Right.
Did you have any particular influences when you went in that you had in your head about how you wanted to play the character?
No, because, initially you just go with your instincts on the brief sort of outline that you've been given, and your job is always just to tell the truth of the character, to serve the story as best as possible. So really all you've got to go on, and I like this, is the writing. Now, I would get the script maybe a day before recording, and I'd have a quick look through, not really trying to make too many choices, because I kind of like working off the seat of my pants a little bit, by the skin of my teeth. It's more exciting, you tend to be more instantaneous like that. So I really wanted to develop him through the process of finding him in the scripts, which is dangerous. It's a more dangerous way of doing it. But hopefully I've been doing this a long time now, with across a lot of different avenues, and so I've learned over the years to trust my instincts a bit more. And I think that's part of the discovery. It was really saying, okay, well, what are you going to throw at the character, and how am I going to respond to the material that you throw? So it was very much dependent on the material that was given to me. And I tried not to have too many preconceptions, because it'd then be too easy to, I might start suddenly talking about Michael Caine, or, becoming very, very, very emotional. And I didn't want to do that.
No, was that Michael Caine, or was that Steve Coogan's Michael Caine?
Well, it might have been Steve Coogan's Michael Caine. All right, you busted me. Fine.
I liked it, regardless.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Do you guys do the voices together, or are you separate?
We record together, and that's in so much voiceover work you don't ever get to do that. You're locked in a box with the headphones, and you don't get to relate to anyone else. So this is really a fantastic experience. Also, because I think if me and Anthony and Sumali and I have become really strong friends. I know other people are strong. I know a lot of other people who've been involved. So we've managed to really build up those relationships, and that can only serve the characters better, because it just, it just means that you're in a comfort zone with those people who, as the characters spend a lot of time together, and therefore it makes sense that you then gel as a company. The other great thing is that, Andrea Romano has such an incredible source of fantastic people to come in and do these other characters. So you're sitting there and you know, these extraordinary people, some of whom I don't think I could mention yet. You know, some major TV guy walks in off the street into the studio, and you're like, really? You got him? This is amazing. This is going to be fantastic. And again, you know, every piece of work that you do is a learning experience. So when those people walk in, you're always, you know, building your own capabilities by learning. So it's a really fun way to work. And it tells the story better that way. You know, it's clearer, I think.
So, you know, obviously you said you looked at the picture of Alfred and knew that there was something different going on.
Yeah.
So how big of a Bat fan are you?
You know, I used to get the comics when I was a kid. I wouldn't call myself an aficionado by any stretch of the imagination, but I do a bit of research. I like the fact that it gets changed up a little bit. I think it's risky, of course, and I think, you know, sometimes fans feel insulted by that. I don't, as a fan. I think the new look on things is you know, it's refreshing and enlightening, and it takes things in a new direction. What I do want is I want the traditional relationships to be sort of honoured. If he suddenly became Batman's sidekick, well, that wouldn't wash for Alfred. And I think there's concern that that's what's happened. Not at all what's happened. That is not Alfred's role in this. He's just it's a younger reimagining of him, and therefore he's just beginning to realise that he's slowing up, and he's not the guy he once was, and so he wants to provide that extra support. And I think that's an interesting part of the story to delve into. You know? So yeah, there you go.
It's a pretty iconic role. How does it feel to sort of step into those shoes?
It feels like a tremendous honour. You know, it's flattering to be involved. This franchise, I think, is the franchise of franchises. It's hallowed ground, and therefore risky to do something different. But I love the challenge of that. Whenever you enter into any kind of genre, you have a duty to honour that genre, and I take that very, very seriously. So while you're doing something new and interesting, hopefully, you also want to maintain the traditional, you know, character elements that have always been there, and I think that we've worked really hard to do that. We've kept the compassion, we've kept the fatherly relationship, we've kept the humour, we've kept the acerbic wit. That's why there's a British character in this thing. It's to set that up, and I think we've honoured all of that. It's a huge privilege. It's a huge privilege, and I was like a giddy schoolgirl when I found out. I mean, it's in the callback, Anthony and I remember we looked at each other, and the noises they were making behind the glass, we were like, this might actually happen. And we were both very, very excited, and we've been excited ever since. You know, anytime we've been allowed to go up into the hallowed offices and have a quick look at a clip of something or see any of it, it's just stupendous when it starts all coming together and coming alive. It's so exciting, and I love what they've done with it. I really do.